Youth Service Director Allie Loiza Mickelstein. At this time, nominations are open from the floor until our meeting on April 2nd. At that meeting, all nominee names will be placed on the ballot where votes will be voiced and taken. The candidates securing the highest number of votes shall be declared elected here at Rotary Club of West Jacksonville. Thank you very much.
Probably a good group. We'll put a lot of work into this.
Great job, Ms. Dunn. I know you had a lot of support. I know you're grateful for that support as well. I want y'all to know we had a phenomenal Chris. Stand up, Chris. Let everybody say hi to Chris. How you doing, man? We're gonna be voting on that guy pretty soon, aren't we? I hope so. We had a great time last week. How many people came out to the Orland, had ice cream? Wasn't it a great time? Would you all mind giving a round of applause to both Will Tesh and Josh Harrison for the great job they did on that one? Yes. AJ.
Photo from your video from the one that you please right in the website for you and distribute to the product.
You know, I wish you would do that. I appreciate that. We had some great shots. I sent mine somewhere. If I didn't send them to you, I'll make sure that I send them to you. I got a great shot of Carl Dawson and Amber. I've got a great shot of second cousins in my family that were there. It was really a great event. And God blessed us because the weather was kind of shaky, but it calmed down. We had a great time. So thank you. AJ, make sure you get your photos to AJ. All right, any more pop-ups? Any more pop-ups? All right. Carl Dawson, I understand you're going to do the family of Rotary. You're pitched in for. There's a pop-up? Me. Come on up here. You all know Steve Rowland's gonna come up here and he's gonna pitch. Come on, that's okay. It's not on the script, so I don't even think you want.
Okay, well, I'm Stephen Roll.
So now you can control that. You don't
So
have to
we've
deal
got
with
an
all
event
this.
24th of April.
Yes, we did.
It's gonna be at the Alhambra.
It is.
Theater.
That's correct.
Come on.
Already
All right.
queued up, ready to go. So you
Hey,
don't see
everyone.
I mean, that's what you want to
It's a
see.
little
right?
too late. I think I had string beans in my mouth or
Yeah,
something.
that's good.
Anyhow, yes, April 24 is our largest fundraiser of the year. It's gonna be beautiful, the Carole King musical. For our guests today, you're certainly invited to join us as well. It's come one, come all. We've got flyers on all the tables that give you some information. We want to thank Katie Quackenbush. She did a phenomenal job of putting the flyers together. And Drew and Tim Ware from the Riverside Club, I believe, for helping as well. Anyhow, all the information's there. We've got some sponsorships. We are reserving the inner circle, if you will, or inner half of the, anyhow, inner row for platinum sponsors. But you do get all 6 tickets as part of your sponsorship. We also have gold sponsors where you can reserve one of the 4-seat tables. And with that, you get the 4 seats as well. And then there's silver. You don't get a table, but you're in all of the marketing. The marketing, as you see, includes lobby banner, program inset. For the gold and platinum, there'll be a sponsor sign at your table. Table flyers at our meetings, the youth awards. And of course, a great time. So anyhow, it was really encouraging to start seeing that board filling in. We are reaching out to some of the other clubs in Area 6, which would include Riverside, Downtown, and Southside. And one of the folks in Riverside actually told me he was talking to somebody today down in Palm Valley Club too, and I'm like, well, bring on all Rotarians. So anyhow, real quick, we did half last year. We decided this time we want to make it an all Rotary night. So appreciate everybody getting behind it. Thank you, Patty, and let us know if you have any questions.
Oh. How much is it?
Oh, well, the price went up a lot from last year. Last year it was $100 a ticket. This year, it's $100 a ticket.
What do you get for $100?
Oh, you get dinner.
Before dinner, you get before dinner.
Well, we're gonna have a cocktail social that starts around 5:30. That includes a drink ticket,
Right.
dinner,
Right.
good old taxes, gratuity to the staff,
Great show.
a great show. And so, you know, really, the people that really deserve the credit on that is the Alhambra. Because we know nothing costs the same this year as it did last year. And they really stepped up to the plate, and I think they raised our cost by a whopping $1.18. So, want to make sure we do a good job on our part and pack the place. Okay, thank you so much.
Please roll, everybody. That's 358 seats. We're gonna knock out half of it in no time at all. I bought my seats like yesterday or the day before. We got the board in the back. You'll be able to see it fill up. Get in early. There's a select number of seats, and obviously the closer the better, so buy your tickets early. All right, can I invite Carl Dawson up now? Yes? Carl, come on up here, sound like family earlier. You're pitch hitting for Paul, who's got jury duty out here. Oh. Ladies and gentlemen, President, birthdays. Stuart, would you stand up, please? Sure. On the first of this month, Stuart turns 52.
There you go, Stuart.
Tommy Clamp's birthday was on the 7th. As I said, Paula Bell is working the golf tournament with Mike Crumpler this week. Palmer, Joe, and I played in the Founders Day golf tournament in Pimlico yesterday. We won last place. It was a great time, beautiful weather. I have a little good news. My daughter got engaged last month.
All right.
I got a little bad news. She texted me today and said, "How much did I budget for a wedding?" I'm gonna need some help there. And one little personal thing, I want to tell you that when I was growing up, my next door neighbor was in the mafia. And he was such a nice guy. He would pay me $10 every morning to start his car. Thank you very much. Jokes. Not bad, Carl. How much, Sean? What car are you going for now? Is it 4 or 5 figures easily? 6 figures. All right. Well, are you ready? Sergeant at Arms report. Come on up here. Joe Springer, the maestro. Tell us what's going on.
Well, actually, President Tim, we had it easy today. We have,
Jerry's here.
Ed, you've got a guess. Could you tell us who it is?
With me today, Paul, owner of Insurance Wagon.
Hello, Paul.
Oh, you seem the hot seat. Would you tell us who you have with you?
Champagne, who will be joining us pretty soon.
Pretty soon.
All right.
Pretty soon.
As far as visiting Rotarians, we always like to honor and just let you know that we appreciate him being here. Thanks for being
Thank you,
with
Jerry.
us.
Thank you for being here.
That's it from me, sir. You can continue.
All right, well, now it's time for our speaker of the day. Ivar is going to do the introduction. I could do the introduction. I've got a long relationship with Jake. He was one of the first people I met when I got to Jacksonville. Literally one of the first people I met. And it was, that's okay, you can chew while I'm singing your praises. You looked at, I like the beard, I like that. And you've got some sun. I've done well. Everybody knows, a day that I'm not in the newspaper is a good day for the police and fire pension fund. I'm gonna turn it over to Ivar. He's gonna do a good job introducing us.
President Tim, the chemistry between you and Jake Gordon, I have to admit, is unmatched here inside Timaquana Country Club. Before I introduce our speakers today, I want to thank some special people that were really invaluable in the process of bringing Jake Gordon and Linzee out here with us today. President Tim Johnson, of course, Carter Rosenblum, and Joe Springer. We appreciate your efforts in helping put together today's program. Also Erica Hooper. Jake, when you go back to the office, please extend our gratitude to her. She answered every call, every email, made us feel that Rotary was a priority for you and Lindsay this week. And she asked questions and just the collaborative process with Erica, she was terrific, so we really appreciate that. Today's presentation is about the vision for downtown Jacksonville, our city, its future. And it's my distinct honor to introduce Jake and Lindsay to West Jacksonville Rotary formally. Jake is the CEO of Downtown Vision Incorporated. For the past 10 years, Downtown Vision has thrived and continues to be a model for public and private partnership, connecting property owners, businesses, and stakeholders with the city of Jax. He is regarded as a champion for all things downtown. He also fully understands better than us, I suspect, the importance of a business district, a thriving business district, that downtown is a changing landscape and that we need thoughtful, innovative, business-oriented leadership to guide us through that landscape. His business and economic journey prior to Jacksonville included a major turnaround in Camden, New Jersey, one of the country's most impoverished cities. He managed revitalization projects, infrastructure, and energy-efficient retrofits, and led a successful turnaround of Camden. He's an attorney by trade, worked for a major law firm in Los Angeles, mainly in litigation. His combined educational background, which includes UPenn Law School, UC San Diego, Jake is proud to call downtown Jacksonville his home with his wife and their 2 children. Jake, welcome to West Jacksonville Rotary. And as part of this double feature this afternoon, we also have Linzee, the CEO of Build Up Downtown. Linzee is homegrown and a proud native of Jacksonville. We love that about you, Linzee. We really do. She was named CEO last summer of Build Up Downtown, coming up on 1 year on the job this summer. Congratulations, Linzee. A connector of people, ideas, and organizations who values innovation and improvement, and that doesn't intimidate her at all. I think the challenge of energizing downtown Jacksonville energizes Linzee, and that energizes me. But don't kid yourself. Down deep, Linzee is on a mission. She is in constant communication with constituents, mostly current and future investors, developers, and businesses who truly dive into a holistic vision of downtown Jacksonville. What does the next 25, 50, 100 years look like of downtown Jacksonville? That is what she aims to find out. Her background is equally impressive, a graduate of Florida State University and positions held in government, including posts in Washington, D.C. and the U.S. Department of State, as well as 8 years working at the State Attorney's Office. Linzee is regarded as an expert in community outreach with concentrations in development, preservation, and revitalizing our downtown. Congratulations to the success you've enjoyed, ladies and gentlemen. Linzee,
All right. Thank you so much for that. That is probably the nicest introduction I will ever receive. I think Jake feels the same way. So thank you so much. I'm Linzee. This is Jake Gordon. I will share the microphone with him. Just wanted to thank you all for having us here today on this gorgeous, gorgeous day. Y'all could be out enjoying the sunshine, but you're talking with us. So thank you for your time and having us here. And Mr. Dawson, I just want to give a shout out. Mr. Dawson is my secretary on the Downtown Development Review Board. So that is the acknowledgement that he gave me earlier. So good to see you. So with that being said, we are going to kick it off. Jake is going to start us off here.
So it's next.
Hello, I'm usually really loud, but I got this, well, yeah, thank you so much for the invite and the great introduction. I was smart enough to figure this out, but now I've already figured out how to not make it work. So maybe you could just go to the next slide. I feel like I've got the pointer working, but.
There we go.
So, as we said, I'm Jake Gordon, this is Linzee. We're gonna talk about downtown Jacksonville. How many people have been to downtown Jacksonville? Raise your hand. Okay, look at that. I think you can all see it right now, like this is a gorgeous view, to draw the shades a little bit. You know, Lindsay and I live it every day, but the reality is, I think people give us too much credit. It's not like we're gonna change it on our own. The reality is we're just focusing on it so we can bring it to you and make sure you guys understand how important downtown is. And I've been here for 10 years now. I did move from New Jersey, met my wife in Los Angeles, but she is from Alachua County, so has always wanted to move back to Florida. Now we've lived here for over a decade. My children have grown up in Jacksonville and are going to be like Lindsay, born and raised. To me, you know, downtown has changed a lot over the last 10 years. So even if you've seen this before, we're talking about it. And honestly, Lindsay and I actually got rid of a lot of slides because we're going to try to get through this relatively quickly and see what your questions are related to what's going on in downtown. And it used to be, even a decade ago, I could give a presentation on everything that was happening. We had basically no cranes in the sky. We were not building all that much, and we were like, hey, this is what's going on. Now, you probably can't even count them. I lose track. I asked Lindsay, hey, do you know all these numbers? If they ask me, because I have been losing track. So the one thing to know about us is that, you know, we work at 2 different nonprofits, as was said. My nonprofit's been around since 2000. I'm the second CEO of that nonprofit. Terry Lawrence, who you may know, was there for 14 years. Now I've been here for 10 years. So we've been around for almost 25 years and have 2 executive directors. And we represent the property owners of downtown. And I'll go into that. The one thing that both Lindsay and I represent is the city of Jacksonville kind of leads the way. So just like any city in America or across the world, you're going to build your city. You know, the mayor and city council, the elected officials, that's who's really running it. So when you talk about a plan that Build Up Downtown and DDI have, Lindsay and myself, we are really following the city's plan. And that's very, very common across the country. We're going to follow the plan. If you see Mayor Deegan following the steps of Mayor Curry and Mayor Brown, really have done a lot for downtown, going even back to Mayor Payton, Mayor Delaney, Mayor Missouri. You know, there has been this talk about downtown, but it hasn't really led itself to be actual progress. There's been a lot of stops and starts. The reality is, since the Downtown Investment Authority was created, which is a city agency, again, neither Lindsay and I work at the city, there has been a lot of progress in terms of investment into downtown, creating some of these projects, capitalizing that, and that is coming from the city and from the city of Jacksonville and the Downtown Investment Authority. Yeah, I pointed that right there.
Nope.
Oh, there you go. Like some. They literally told me that. Don't point at the screen, point at this way, you're gonna mess it up, man. So hopefully you recognize these 2 ladies. I just mentioned Mayor Deegan and then Lori Boyer, former city council president, the head of the Downtown Investment Authority. She replaced Andre Wallace, who left for Southjax-USA and is still in town. But this is basically that, you know, DDI and Build Up Downtown don't have a plan of our own necessarily. We have things that we're working on, and we have, you know, our nonprofits work towards a lot of mission-related goals. But the plan for Jacksonville is the city's plan. And people always ask me, why don't we have a plan for downtown? We definitely do. If you want to look at it, this is just recently redone last June of 2023, already a couple summers ago now. This is really, the plan was not updated. The plan is about 384 pages, which is available online. But there was this thought that no one really knew what the plan was, so it was kind of encapsulated in more of an easier to digest format. So this one is only about 25 to 30 pages that you can get online and look at that if you're really interested. We're happy to send it to you after this. And there's a ton of stuff in this plan. I guess that should be one big takeaway. If you don't think there is a plan, there's definitely a plan. The Downtown Investment Authority in the city have been working towards that. If you've been downtown recently, 2-way streets are part of that plan. That's been talked about a long time, changing some of these streets from 1-way to 2-way. The reality is we're finally there. One of the lanes of Foresight is completely closed, has caused huge amount of traffic issues in downtown, but the reality is that's the price of progress. Similar to when I moved here, 95 was under construction, and I was like, oh my God, what's going on? People were like, yeah, it's been going on for 7 years. Now, if you drive it, it really makes sense. Now you can get to downtown without being in traffic if 95 backs up. Like just did the other day, there's a lot of ways to get into downtown. So this is whatever there. So my organization, really quickly, and I'll let Lindsay talk about everything else going on in downtown. We are, as I mentioned, on behalf of the private property. So we're what's called the Business Improvement District. We have a district in downtown. And the one thing to take from this slide is that if you think of other cities in America, there is an organization like us in other cities. This is just a tiny sample of those. But again, if you just think of a city, if you go into Canada, which has even more of these, given the way they're set up, like Vancouver British Columbia has 22 different organizations like my organization in their downtown. The districts are smaller, and there's organizations that may feel like this is a big value add. I'm on the board of the International Downtown Association, and that is a bigger organization that's across the world that is organizations like ours. And generally, they follow the civic steps. So this orange line, which downtown is actually defined how the city defines downtown. Neither Lindsay and I define what is downtown. And we'll say we've lived in Jacksonville for a while now, both of us. People think everything's downtown. Like if you're over here on the west side, you're like, everything over there is downtown. The reality is this definition has been the same way. This is 95, this is 95, and then you get all the way over to the waterfront on the west, and then this is State and Union at the top. So it's basically like these busy roads kind of bound near downtown, and that's similar to like 1988. The city has not changed its definition of downtown. The growth in this area has drastically changed, so there's almost confusion. If you think about Myrtle Avenue or Edgewater University, that is not downtown. If you think about the Color Museum, people always get confused. That is actually technically not downtown. Riverside Arts Market is right here. The Color is right here. Basically, one thing off. So this is not a line we changed. This is the city's definition now. My organization has an assessment area that is not all of downtown. It's just this intersection of downtown recently expanded. And in that area, every one of these property owners pays my organization 1.1 mils, which is $1.10 and every $1,000 of value. So if you have $1 million building, you pay into a fund $1,100 a year. We aggregate all that from the property owners, and we use that for the betterment of downtown. It's probably a pretty common thing, because if you think about any of your neighborhoods that have a common area maintenance card, or any building that you're in that charges you kind of a neighborhood association fee, same thing, except that normally those are sometimes volunteer. We end up with so much money because the property is so valuable. We end up with a full-time person like me and 10 full-time people in our office, like Eric Cooper, which is very nice of you to say. So that's where, we are kind of, though, a neighborhood association for these property owners. We're not supposed to do what the city says, but the reality is the city is a massive property owner in downtown. So they are one of our biggest stakeholders, and we all work together for the betterment of them. So that's the way we're agreeing. And then you would also notice that the way we're funded has nothing to do with what we did. So if I say International Downtown Association, if you go around the world, the way we collect our money is relatively similar. The way we spend it is always different depending on the need in the community. So we like to give ourselves a public-private partnership. Everyone thinks I work with the city. I did not. City of Jacksonville over here, board of directors of the DIA, created by Mayor Brown, and really supported by Mayor Curry. You have the Downtown Investment Authority, Lori Boyer, and her team. And then you have our property owners, our board of directors, Downtown Vision, me in the middle. Still live downtown, been around for a couple of years now. We integrated them. I slapped them on here. You're hoping more about that. They are really because the need in downtown, and this is something I also take away, the way we are funded and the way we're going. Again, our revenues have nothing to do with the need. The need in downtown is drastically outpacing the amount of money we're putting towards it. So even all the work EDI has been doing, maybe a couple of years ago was good, but at this point, there's so much need. We needed another organization. That's why the private developers created Willow Downtown. So really quickly, I just have, these are the things that we do with our money that we get from the property owners. Ambassadors. Has anyone seen orange uniformed ambassadors downtown? Raise your hand, maybe a couple. So that's our organization. People think that's the city. That's the thing we spend the most money on. They're supposed to be helping you downtown. We have a nice lady drop her cell phone down a sewer grate. The city is not going to come out and help you pry that sewer grate. We did that, trying to help you. Shocked at how many people forget where they parked in downtown, just park their car and walk away. We really try to have a customer service aspect. So hopefully when you saw those orange uniform ambassadors, they're doing the work. Stakeholder support, we connect a lot of people in downtown. We do more outreach related to that. We do downtown.com marketing and research. We just hired a new research director that came to us from the North Carolina League of Cities, where she's been helping North Carolina municipalities, use research in how they plan their city. So we have a lot of capacity there that we're excited to use. And then events, first Wednesday Art Walk, Sip and Stroll presented by PNC. We've been doing a lot of placemaking work, which is now supported by Vice Credit Union. They recently came in as our title sponsor. So a lot of different things. You can see how these kind of run the gamut between clean and safe, which is really what we try to focus on. All the online marketing and research is really valuable, and then activities in downtown that really make people feel like things are happening. We do a state of downtown report, which is what I mentioned with our research. So if you go online to dtjax.com/research, you can pull this report. Tons of data in there. The TLDR is just basically people think the metrics of downtown are maybe plateauing or going down. The reality is every single metric is up from hotel occupancy to residential living downtown to events happening downtown. The one that is down is office occupancy. So that's also similar to across the country. Our vacancy rates in office are going up. And the reality is every city in America and the world is trying to figure out a way to focus on to try to make up for that. And the reality is, how do you make up for that? Well, really, you just want more people downtown. You have to focus on business. So like Visit Jacksonville's here, they did a great job. Like we need to all help have more visitors in downtown. If you've lived in Jacksonville for a long time, you know it's not as focused on tourism as say like Orlando, one of the meccas of tourism. Well, the reality is that's gonna become even more important to focus on visitors. When we track downtown visitors, we track them in 6-minute increments. So like if you come down for it up to 6 minutes, we can tell if you're downtown. I know by the way, you have a cell phone and nothing is private anymore. So we know where your phone sleeps, we know where it comes, and we know how many people are downtown more than ever before. And so we really need to have more people come downtown because I think that's part of the challenge. The density of use is not there. It's not and then investment is way up. I think the stat that I always like to use is from 2000 to 2017. There was roughly $2.5 billion invested in downtown. I mentioned in 2015, we had almost no cranes in the sky. So for those 18 years, we invested $2.5 billion. Right now, there's $2.23 billion under construction. People say they're cynical, like, oh, I don't want to believe these future renderings. There is another $2.6 billion proposed. But the reality is, if you look out there and you look at these cranes, like even the stadium, like these numbers are massive compared. So even if you don't want to believe us, you can go around and drive around downtown and you can see the construction happening. The reality is that it's going to be a huge investment compared to the entire lifetime of my organization, which is City. And there's a whole bunch of stuff. This is online for this. And I think that, oh yeah, listen, I think this is where a lot of great things to be talked about in Jacksonville.
We're getting close on time and I have a lot of exciting things to talk to you guys about. Getting the hang of my so this is a word diagram that in the state of downtown report that Jake's organization helps publish every year and update every year. This is featuring people's concerns and people's feedback about downtown. I don't think we have a lot of surprises here, but I promise you, if you like reports or you need some bedtime reading, State of Downtown is chock full of a lot of really good data that may surprise you about our downtown. So Build Up Downtown, like Jake said, they are kind of the public-private. Downtown Investment Authority is the city, and then Build Up Downtown, we are totally private. We are a 501c3 created by the private sector. There were organizations and individuals who realized that there was a lot of need and interest and momentum in downtown. And so we needed another entity to do some of the advocacy work and to fill some of the gaps that the city or public-private necessarily shouldn't. And so Build Up Downtown was created in late 2021. And we want to be involved in all the things that make a downtown great. So that's everything from historic preservation to the development and to the big picture conversations about where our downtown is headed and what's best for it. And just a note, so the map that Jake showed y'all of the boundaries of downtown. So a downtown is really going to be healthier when its urban core is healthier. So as we're having conversations about all of these urban core neighborhoods, if you guys have heard of Out East, we'll talk about that in just a second. Lift Jacksonville. Even you think about Springfield. Springfield has undergone a huge transformation recently. Our downtown is going to be stronger with strong urban core neighborhoods as neighbors. So this map, you guys are welcome to take a photo of this if you'd like. I am not going to talk through all of these items. These are all of the major projects happening downtown. This does not even include all of the restaurants, bars, things to do. These are only the major projects happening in downtown. And I wanted to show you this map to show you that there really is, and this is not, we're not just talking, these are not ideas. I don't put things on this map. This space is valuable. I don't put things on this map unless they are for sure happening. So this is an idea of how much is happening in our downtown right now. And I want to give you guys the big picture, kind of 10,000-foot view of what we have going on. And then I'll give you snapshots of what each of those are going to look like. So we are gonna start over here, on our west with the Brooklyn neighborhood and La Villa and the University of Florida Graduate Campus. Then we're gonna talk about Gateway Jacks, the Pearl Square District, and then the, of course, the Stadium Sports and Entertainment District. And I'm describing this to people as a triangle of transformation. I love alliteration, okay? I'm a grammar nerd. But this is a triangle of transformation happening in our downtown, starting with, of course, Brooklyn is this point down here. Gateway is this point up here. Sports and Entertainment District is a point over here. And this entire North Bank Riverwalk, we have more than 2 contiguous miles of public spaces and riverfront parks that are on the way. Some are under construction on the North Bank alone. So this entire side, bottom side of this triangle, is going to be an absolute game changer for Jacksonville. And we're not even gonna talk about the South Bank today. So please, if you're interested, I would love to talk to you more about all the things, but we only have so much time today. So Brooklyn and La Villa. These are a couple photos, and I really struggle, y'all, when I do these presentations. I want to show you the renderings because they're pretty and they're exciting, and that's what gets people, energized about what's coming. But I also struggle because I want to show you it's happening. The construction, this is construction. And it's not as pretty as a rendering, but I'm going to try to show you both. So up here we have block 9, and I don't have a construction photo, but I can. So block 9 is doing some site work. This is in Brooklyn, and I will tell y'all, Gateway. Raise your hand if you've heard of Gateway Jacks, Pearl Square, just so I know what I'm working with. All right, great. So the same thing that Gateway Jacks is doing in the North Core of downtown Jacksonville, there is a developer that's interested in doing the same thing in Brooklyn. So another developer, totally unrelated, owns a ton of blocks in Brooklyn, and there's a Park Street Road diet that's under construction right now. Again, the construction stuff is not sexy, it's annoying. People don't like construction, but it's really, really important when you talk about infrastructure and when you talk about investment, because investors, this guy in Brooklyn, for example, investors want to see those improvements before they come in and make investments to develop. So as soon as the Park Street Road diet is complete in Brooklyn, we're going to see some land move in Brooklyn as well, which is very exciting. This right here, number 2, this is One Riverside. That's an old photo. They are putting finishing touches on these apartments. There's going to be a waterfront restaurant in there. The Riverwalk is going to be reopened and improved. There's even going to be a brand new park right next to this called McCoy's Creek Park. And McCoy's Creek is going to be daylighted, and it'll be nicer than it has been in a long time. Number 3 here is called the Hub in Brooklyn. This is a mixed-use development. There's going to be a little bit of office space, some bar and restaurant. It's very exciting. It's by the same guys that did Southern Grounds, if you're familiar. And number 4, this is an aerial view of the University of Florida Graduate Campus. So this announcement by University of Florida to bring a graduate campus to Jacksonville is an incredible thing for our city. When it's all said and done, they're planning to bring about 1,000 students to the downtown area. It's going to be in the La Villa neighborhood. Part of the agreement is that the city will provide 22-ish acres of land to UF to then develop for its campus. They're going to be doing all kinds of graduate programs focusing a lot on AI. Go figure. They also are going to have the Florida Semiconductor Institute right here in Jacksonville. So this project has national, state, and local funding and support. It is a really big deal for our city. And students are a great asset. So Jacksonville is ranked number 5 in the nation for brain gain, not brain drain, brain gain. That means when students are graduating, they're actually moving to Jacksonville, which is phenomenal. So we are very excited for this project. Moving up to, remember the top of the triangle, the top point, this is Pearl Square. This is called the North Core District of downtown Jacksonville. So I do have some rendering and construction photos for you on this slide. So I start with photo number 1. This is, who's familiar with the Lighthouse Garage in downtown Jacksonville? Okay, it's iconic. It might be silly, It might have been kind of something to make fun of in the past, but it has become recognizable. And this developer is doing something that developers don't usually do. They've purchased this garage, this parking garage. They are going to wrap the first floor of their parking garage with retail and dining in order to activate the street level, which is incredible. So this developer, Gateway Jacks, this is a team who has done Water Street in Tampa, if you're familiar with them, and also Amazon's HQ2 in Washington, DC. So these guys have done it in other cities. They know what they're doing. Phenomenal neighborhood level placemaking and creation. They are doing huge master planning, and their talent really shows. So this is just an example of some of the buildings. This is their first phase. This is called Pearl Square. And the reason it's called Pearl Square is because going down Pearl Street, they are going to build their buildings set back so that the pedestrian experience will be nice. They're also going to build on a curbless festival street so that you can actually close parts of Pearl Square off and hold farmers markets, activate it during Art Walk, and do all kinds of events for the residents and for visitors. So this first phase right here includes 5 parcels, and they just announced they've acquired more. This one right here, this is the same building. This is called, they nickname them all with numbers and letters. It gets very confusing, but this is in 11. And this is actually an old photo too. They have now finished the first floor of construction. This is a brand new 7-story building in downtown Jacksonville, y'all. It's going to look incredible. This is going to be residential. There's going to be a combination. The retail announcements that Gateway Jacks is going to be making pretty soon are really exciting. And this is happening. These are not speculation. These are not rumors. These are announcements. There are retailers across the country. There are developers and investors across the country watching Jacksonville. They are very interested. They are excited about downtown. And moving to the sports and entertainment district, of course, we are familiar with our Stadium of the Future, and that got passed last year. This is the current construction of the Four Seasons and Jaguars office building. So I still read articles and people say, yeah, right, Four Seasons, I'll believe it when I see it. Well, that's it. They are starting construction. They have finished the first floor of construction. It is happening. It's going to be either a December or very early 2027 opening of the Four Seasons. So these 2 massive investments by the Jaguars and the Khan family are going to be transformational for this district. Things that are not even on this slide. Armada Soccer Stadium that's coming. The fairgrounds is going to be redeveloped. It was just purchased by the Jaguars. I include the Jacksonville Jumbo Shrimps renovation of their building because it is indicative of the transformation happening in this district as well. They are reorienting their baseball stadium to turn outwards and engage with the pedestrian. So they recognize there are going to be more visitors coming to the sports and entertainment district. The Rise apartments that very unfortunately burned last January, they're under construction again. They recognize there's going to be a lot of people and foot traffic in this area. So they are building an entire storefront. There's going to be merchandise that pedestrians can interact with. And then Lift Jacksonville. Lift Jacksonville is centered in the historic Out East neighborhood, just barely north of the stadium. And again, talking about a healthy downtown, we have to have thriving urban core neighborhoods that neighbor our downtown if we want to have a healthy downtown as well. So all of these billions of dollars being invested in the stadium, we are being good neighbors. The Jaguars are supporting the Out East neighborhood and investing in that neighborhood as well, so that everything in this district is going to be healthy and transformed at the same time. And last but not least, these are the public parks that we were speaking about in the North Bank Riverwalk. So I'm going to go very, very quickly through these, and if you have questions, we want to hear them. So these are from west, these are from west to east. This is McCoy's Creek at that one Riverside, the former Times Union building that we talked about. This is Performing Arts Music Heritage Garden Park. This is gonna be in front of the Performing Arts Center. It's gonna be really cool. Friendship Fountain is actually going to have, there's gonna be a projection tower in this garden that projects across the river to Friendship Fountain, and there will be an integrated lights and music show with this garden. So very cool stuff happening in Jacksonville. Then this park will directly connect with Riverfront Plaza. If you were here when the landing was here, the landing, of course, is no more. But this incredible world-class park is under construction right now. This big circle thing, this is an elevated playground. So the playground will be on top of this circle, and underneath will be a cafe. You can go by and get some lunch, grab a sandwich, go enjoy the park. And then Mosh Genesis. So Mosh is our children's museum, has announced that they are moving from the South Bank to the North Bank because they want to be a part of everything that they see happening in downtown. They want to be right in the middle of all the action. And so their new museum space will also feature a Riverfront Park segment and improved river walk. And then Shipyards West is going to be right in between Mosh and Metro Park and the Jaguars office building, Four Seasons. Shipyards West is probably the furthest in the lineup. They're at about 30, 40, I'd say 40% design. And those plans online, if you want to weigh in on those plans, there's actually a website you can do that. Metropolitan Park. I grew up going to World of Nations in Metropolitan Park. I have really fond childhood memories in that park. So this park is getting a revamp, and this is about 60% designed. They had community meetings on that. They got a time. So these are some of your parks under construction and in the works. And then just to leave you guys, we won't talk through these. This is a list of, there's actually multiple in a line. This is 17 new bars, restaurants, eateries coming to downtown Jacksonville. Some of them are open, some of them are under construction. This is a really exciting list, and there is an asterisk right there. Ariat Hospitality Group is, gosh, there's so much we didn't even get to talk about. The Bank of America building is turning itself inside out. So it's ground floor. They are actually going to renovate their ground floor. So instead of walking in a front door and then circulating the building from the inside, there will be restaurants. Starbucks is coming back to downtown. There will be restaurants and other shops surrounding the building so that you can be walking down the sidewalk and walk directly into a restaurant or a shop, which is a very exciting best practice. And Ariat Hospitality Group is opening a restaurant on the ground floor. They are a restaurateur in Miami. They have a Michelin star restaurant. So if you saw the article, there's conversations about bringing Michelin to Northeast Florida. So these are very exciting developments. And these are our emails. If you do want to ask us any questions, you can do it by email, or we might have time for a few now.
We do have time for about 2 questions.
Mine is not a question, but just real quick, I did a research project about a year ago, and there was an article that was totally in line with what you're talking about. It was in the realtor.com. I believe it was like December of 23. And they talked about a statistic that showed urban, or like a precedent to urban growth. And it was the increase in rates for studio apartment rentals. And Chicago was #1 at 38%. Jacksonville was #2 at 25%. And I think Oklahoma City was third at like 14%. So all of that goes hand in hand with what you were talking about.
Last year alone, just in calendar year 2024, Jacksonville, Florida absorbed 6,400 apartment units absorbed. That means they're occupied, they're not sitting empty. And so the types of demographics that we are trying to attract, younger people living in studios and apartments downtown, it's exactly what we want to see.
Jay or Lindsay, a lot of exciting stuff going downtown, and I've been in downtown for almost 30 years, in and out, and so it's fun to finally see something happening. But one of your slides up there, I think it just encapsulates one of the problems we have for discretionary good visitors as opposed to people who work downtown, homeless. I can tell you, over the years, that has kept more people, and especially women I've talked to, from going downtown, is the homeless problem. And I hope, with that big slide up there, that you all are going to address that, because there's nothing that spooks people quicker than going downtown and being harassed.
So I will absolutely agree with you. My background in public safety, working in law enforcement, this was a very dialed-in conversation that the state attorney's office was having in downtown in the community. And I think there's two things. One is talking about the services, the housing, permanent and supportive housing, those actual best practice solutions for the challenge of homelessness. And our city is having that conversation. There is a special commission that's meeting right now that will be making recommendations to city council. City council has recognized, yeah, it's time we need to invest some money in this. And so that commission is going to be making recommendations. We hope to see some investment in some services. By the way, y'all, Jacksonville, Florida has nationally recognized homelessness service providers. Our services are actually top notch. They're under-resourced, and we could use a lot more of them to help actually tackle the problem. The second thing that I want to say there is, I think there is something to be said for critical mass and perception. So when you're walking down an empty sidewalk and there aren't other people walking next to you or near you, you are going to notice a homeless individual more so than if you're walking down a crowded sidewalk and there's a lot of people around you. So I think as we talk about all these apartments, all of these restaurants, all of these things bringing people to downtown, I think we will start to see that increased density, living, working, playing in downtown. And I think perception-wise, that might start to shift.
Can I just add one thing about the plan, because that's very true. That's the number one thing that people say they want to change. Is, oh yeah, that's the number one thing people want to change is homeless. And I think it's interesting though, the original investment authority plan does not have homelessness because it's a development focused plan. But the reality is human beings need a lot of things to change. So that's why people ask why there are multiple organizations. So an organization like mine, we actually have a social services program, and the Downtown Investment Authority is not focusing on that, but that's where the private sector can help make sure. So there is a lot of focus on that, as Lindsay said. The short answer is yes, there's been a lot of work on that. And if you go downtown, I think you'll see a lot of changes. People in need are getting the help they need. Now the challenge is there's more people in need than before, so it's constantly chasing, trying to keep it. But that is where there has been a lot of work on that. That's like a whole different thing.
President Tim, we have Jimmy Kelly wants to ask one last question, and then you'll need to use their mics.
I've just a quick question. You probably can't answer it, but you might be able to give us a what if overview so we can have a point of reference. If you could close your eyes and click your heels and all of a sudden all these projects were done right now, when would they all be complete? Just
2028. So, and before 2030, because the timeline, so if I go back to that view of all of those things on that map, the vast majority of those projects, the timeline is 2028 to coincide with the stadium grand reopening, because the city, all of these stakeholders in town recognize that is going to be a complete catalyst project. And so a lot of these projects, they are trying to time to coincide with the stadium reopening. Now, I do say 2030 because you see projects like Gateway Jacks and some of these big, larger scale projects, they are going to be 5 and 10-year investments. So that's two answers for you, but it's in our lifetime.
that helps. And thank you for your time. I appreciate it.
Remember that if you turn the blue one on, it turns hers off. I don't think.
Jake came to visit me. I'm a property owner at the corner of Adams and Monroe. It kind of came off as protection. I don't know. You know, you don't want your windows broken. You pony up some cash. Make sure you're part of the team. But you know, a lot has changed. A lot has changed. It's been a great partnership, and we're really glad to be members of your organization. All right, everybody, let me wrap this up. Our future meetings are March 19th. That's spring break week. Next week, there'll be no meeting. Enjoy the weather. On the 26th, Dr. Hussein Abbas, bariatric surgeon, will be here. Our greeters for the 26th of March are William Milne. Prayer will be Johnny McCole. The pledge is Preston Keys, and the four-way test is Katie Quackenbush. On the 2nd of April, we've got Dr. Ravi Purdy, neurosurgeon, and on the 9th, we've got another social. So before we do the four-way, please join me in thanking our service staff at the Temple Country Club, including Manager Tiffany. And thank you to today's silent roster that had Joe Springer, Ron Roberts, Brian London, Carl Dawson. Let's give them a round of applause. Hey, finally, Carl, you're up double duty today, man. Would you mind?
5:47, day and do.
All right.
Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Be beneficial to all concerned? Is it fun?
All right, everybody. Thanks for being here. Let's get out and make some magic.
See you, Rob.